Hello, friends. I wanted to pop on here really fast. I know a lot of you have been messaging me concerned, and we're okay. Things are fine. So grateful to have this mini vacay and to be able to get outside. There's so many trees. There's so much dirt to get grounded with. And so it's just one day at a time. But I appreciate those of you who reached out. It's okay. You don't need to message me if you're like, well, what's happening? There's lots of really heavy things that I just can't talk about. Which is really hard for me because this is part of my therapy. It's the coping mechanism. I always share my reel. So I unplugged a couple days ago. I really needed that. But I'm the kind of personality where I get super in my own head, and taking like that rest and pulling back and not taking action, it takes more of a toll on me than just continuing to show up. So I'm back, and I just spent an hour going through my messages and working my business and doing some of the things, checking into my tribes and accountability. Whatever, I wouldn't say villages, but that doesn't seem like the right word. But anyway, I wanted to share this with you because it really resonated with me. One of the things I love about coaching is that I'm not an expert. I'm not some freaking unicorn rock star. I am just a normal human raising other humans, and I'm committed to being the healthiest, happiest, sanest version of myself. And that's not always easy. It's not always comfortable, but it's something I'm committed to. And I share my journey on here because my hope is that it will just inspire you to take action, because I think a lot of us overthink things and we tend to get stuck, and then we think it's just us, and oh my gosh, insert anxiety spiral. If you're my people, you totally get it. But if you don't know what to do, you just do the next right thing. Where was I going with this? So coaching, right? I made a video for the people in my accountability tribe a couple weeks ago, and I actually pinned it, and I saw it today and I watched it. You guys, I love being a coach because it's like I'm coaching myself. And if it helps you guys, that's freaking terrific. That's always my goal, is to inspire you to just show up, right? Take action. Celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you showed up. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's. You don't need to compare it. It's your journey, and it's going to be imperfect, and there will be times where it sucks and you drag yourself along. But if you just keep showing up and you just keep going, it always gets better. It's something we're talking about a lot in our family right now, that sometimes seasons seem so dark and so bleak, but like it always gets better. You always come out of the cloud. You just have to have faith and keep showing up, right? So anyway, I saw this video that I made for my babes a couple weeks ago about how to be really, really aware of whether or not your I feels are becoming your I ams. And my I feels were actually other people's I feels, and they were becoming my I ams, and I was feeling so suffocated and scared and out of control because I can't control other people. I can just control myself, right? Truth. But that really was like a gut check for me today. Like, are my I feels, have they become our I ams? It's so important to honor how we feel. Like, I used to be a feeling stuffer. I would stuff it down with food. I would stuff it down with shopping. I would stuff it down with sex. I would stuff it down with alcohol. Like, if it was messy, we didn't have time for that. I don't want to cry. I don't want to talk about it. Like, just highlight reel, right? And I have been doing the work for a couple of years to peel my own onion, to figure out the root stuff, because we repeat what we don't repair. And if you are unwilling to treat the root core issue, it's just going to keep resurfacing. If not in the same way, then it's going to manifest in some other way. So I'm like, do the ugly work, even when it's uncomfortable, even when we have to do these freaking gross feeling things, because it's always worth it. And so I share that as we go, right? So are your I feels becoming your I ams? That I feel so scared. I feel so overwhelmed. I feel so behind. I feel so insert whatever, because what we tell ourselves all the time becomes truth. And I want you to feel your feels, just like I tell my family to feel the feels. I am encouraging myself to feel the feels, but at some point you have to surrender the feels and say, if this isn't serving me and this isn't who I want to continue to be, or this isn't who I want to become, then why am I giving so much time and energy and space to that feeling? Because it so quickly becomes our I ams. And so if you're in a place of overwhelm or lack or behind or fear, and that's not where you want to continue to be, then you have to freaking edit You have to edit something. You have to change the information you're consuming. You have to change your thoughts. You have to change the situations and just your thought reel. And it's not like you can flip a switch, because like this is mental health. Like what I'm talking about right now, it's mental health stuff. And you can't just flip a switch and be like, oh, I feel great. Everything's fine. I felt my feels and now it's magically delicious and everything's back to freaking normal, because that's not real life. That's called denial. And that's just not real. Okay. So my gut check today was that my I feels and my I fears had become my I ams, and I was living in the suffocating place of just being in it. And so I can't just flip a switch and say, everything's fine now. I feel great. Instead, it's like, okay, I felt my feels, and now what's my reality? What is my truth? What do I know to be 100% true in this moment? And what can I edit? What can I change? What action can I take to empower myself and to live in a place of it's going to be all right? I'm going to have faith. I'm going to choose to celebrate the beauty that will come from these ashes, right? Because it's all about perspective and it's all about choice. We choose to either allow ourselves to be victims, we choose to allow ourselves to be stuck, or we choose to take action. And so it's not flipping the switch, but it's making the decision that you're not going to stay in that place. It was me making the decision that I can continue to be in this like freak out, fight or flight, overwhelmed, super freaked out, hypervigilant state. Or I can be like, you know what? I'm going to control my controllables. I'm going to put on my own oxygen mask. I'm going to focus on the things I know to be true in this moment. And I'm not going to give attention or space or energy to any of the worry or any of the fear that's going to consume me, and it won't freaking change anything. I heard this quote once that I freaking love about worrying is just praying for something you don't want. I can worry all day long. I'm a freaking professional worrier. It's in my DNA. I'm outstanding at it. Put it on my freaking resume. But I don't want to be that person, and I don't want to focus on that. So I'm not going to be stupid and be like, I'm not going to worry. I'm going to change my mindset. But instead, I'm going to consume stuff that supports the version of myself I want to become. So that means I'm going to listen to audiobooks about controlling my controllables and having faith over fear and choosing to just like focus on the things, on the wins, even in the middle of the struggle, even in the middle of the ashes, even in the middle of the fear and the overwhelm. Like there's always, it's perspective. It's perspectivals. You choose what you focus on. And so today I found my video that I had made for the babes in my tribe, and I was talking to me. So are your I feels, have they become your I ams? And if they have, you don't have to continue to stay in that place. I wrote down a quote today in the middle of my workout, and I shared it in my workout post earlier today about how guilt about the past, it doesn't serve you. Just like worrying, having anxiety is just worrying about the future. Like all that is true is right now in this moment. And we can either drive and look out a rearview mirror, or we can like overthink and over worry and try and over prepare for the future. Or we can say, you know what, I'm going to check it before I wreck it. And I'm going to focus on the things I know to be true. I'm going to focus on cultivating a positive mindset. I can't control other people. I can't control outcomes of anything. All I can control is my own self and what I choose to focus on, where I choose to put my faith and my hope, and then take teeny tiny actions. And sometimes we're in the middle of the mud. We're in the middle of freaking fog and we don't know the next right thing. And so the next right thing is a baby step. It's like a teeny tiny quarter rocking little tiny bit of a baby step, but it's still action. It's still movement. And so that's my encouragement for you today, is if you are in the middle of a super foggy place, if you're in the middle of a super shitty season, I'm not downplaying it. I'm validating where you're at, but I'm telling you, as someone who is living it right now, we can either choose to stay in that shitty place that doesn't serve us, or we can take a teeny tiny bit of action, because I don't know about you, but when I show up, it makes me feel better. When I decide to like overthink it, it makes me feel terrible. So a couple days ago, I was soul freaking weary, and I got a whole bunch of messages. I think some of you thought I was going to like kill myself. I'm not, that's not where we're at. But I'm just fatigued at a core level, and there's so much bullshit. There's so much stuff that people focus on and worry about and give their attention to and talk about. And I just didn't have the space for it. I still don't have the space for it. I am so freaking tired. I must have some kind of adrenal fatigue thing happening. So I'm going to go like probably get naked and rub on a tree. I need to get that grounded. Don't worry. I won't Insta story it. I don't think. But it's just about knowing where you're at and then knowing what will serve you. And so I had to take that time to like, I can't deal with you. I can't deal with your stuff, even though it's valid to you. It's bullshit to me. And I had to kind of turtle in, but then that turtling in started to feel claustrophobic and I started to feel behind. And so I know for me, I have to take action. Maybe for you, it's different and that's totally cool. You do you, I'm going to do me. But a lot of you have been concerned. I just want to show my face. This is uncharted territory and it's stuff I can't talk about, which is so freaking hard because that's what I do. I share my real. So I'm going to share my real with respect to the people in my life. And I'm just one day at a time. That's all we can do, right? One day at a time. But are your I feels becoming your I ams? And if they are, and it doesn't serve you, and it's not in alignment with who you want to become, then take a little bit of action today. Like move your body or change your environment. Like get outside, touch a tree, go for a walk, like listen to the birds or look at the sky or just like, I'm such a huge believer in changing your environment, your physical environment, like changing that. I think it's really important and it really has helped me. So anyways, that's where we're at. One day at a time, one freaking moment at a time, if that's what it comes down to. But this life is a gift, right? And if it was all sunshine and rainbows, if it was all freaking magically delicious, like, would we really appreciate how epic it is? It's like you need to go through the valleys and the hard stuff because it's part of your story. And it makes the good stuff that much freaking better. And it's so crazy because a couple weeks ago, a girlfriend of mine invited me to a Bible study. And it was about creating margin in your life, which is something I really struggle with because I am a workaholic, always have been, probably always will. It's just who I am. Busy body, busy brain. I'm just go, 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 go. Feel like I have to, qualify all the things. It's very fatiguing. But anyway, the Bible study was about creating margin in our lives and how important it is. And I felt super convicted around it. And so the challenge was just to take like 14 minutes a day or whatever and to just be. And that was the hardest thing ever because I can't even commit to a freaking TV series, you guys, because I feel like it's not like, unless I'm folding laundry, I feel like there's too many other things to be happening. And if this is the time I'm going to take away and relax, then it really needs to be like worth it. Welcome to my brain. It is freaking fatiguing in there. But I was taking the time and I was forcing myself to read because I love to read. And I've always had this dream to write. I want to write. I want to write books. I want to be on stage. I'll be Rachel Hollis without the divorce, that sort of thing. But in this margin that I forced myself to take that was literally like nails on a chalkboard, hideously uncomfortable, I had this nudge, this voice, this thought that I need to write a personal development book for tweens. And I was like, oh, well, that's uncomfortable. Like, I'm always like trying to give Charlotte books and I'm like, oh, we should read this. And she's like, you just want to read it. Yes, I do, actually. Let's read it together. It'll be great. But anyway, in that margin, that space that I forced myself to take, because that's what was the theme of the Bible study. It was like, you need to do this. And now the freaking book is writing itself. It's not really writing itself, but the situations, the hard, uncomfortable, scary, like really, really, really thick, foggy stuff. I was like, this is part of the story. Everything we go through, it's all about perspective. You can choose to see the gift in it, or you can just see the struggle in it. It's all about perspective. So there is plenty of struggle. Okay, I'm not going to be Susie Sunshine and lie to you, but that's just where we're at. So I appreciate your prayers. I appreciate your kind messages. One day at a time, right, guys? So if you've been in the struggle bus too, I'm just challenging you to take a little bit of action. Like maybe you turn on some music and you dance in your living room. Maybe you go for a walk and then celebrate that. Like if we all spent more time celebrating the ways that we were freaking showing up, you guys, like we'd be so much further along. So do yourself a favor, okay? If you have FOMO, if you're comparing your journey to mine or someone else, or you're watching someone, you're like, well, why doesn't my journey look like that? Your journey will never look like that. Your body will never look like that. Your transformation will never, ever, 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 ever look like that. And if it does, you're selling yourself short because you are the only you that will ever be with your unique, specific circumstances. And I know it's really easy to compare. Totally fall into that trap. Totally totally compare myself to other people, but you know what? We're the only ones. This is a race that we're in with ourselves, and comparison is just, it just sucks. So there you go. Anyways, drink your water. Celebrate today, the fact that you get to show up and the ways that you are winning at life, because even if, you're laying on the floor eating M&Ms right now, you know what? You're alive and you're having M&Ms. So it's all about victory. It's not about victory. It's all about perspective and choosing to find the wins in the smallest ways, because that's the stuff that will shift our life. So if you don't feel motivated, if you don't feel inspired, you don't need to. Motivation doesn't exist. It's fleeting. It's inconsistent. It's not something that you can rely on, but you can rely on the fact that you are capable of getting momentum by doing the next right freaking thing. The teeniest, tiniest thing, just do the next thing. That's what I'm doing. The next right thing. The next right thing is for me to drink this water. And then the next right thing is to go outside and be in the sunshine and touch a tree and play with my kids. That's the next right thing. So do your next right thing. If you need anything, let me know. I believe in you. It's going to be okay.